The international football break is over at last, and you know what that means. Yes, it is time for club football, and in this case the Premier League football, to return at long last. But this week is not just any ordinary week in the world of England's top flight, because we have not just one but two major derbies taking place in the same game week. Now that doesn't tend to happen too often, because that's not to say that there aren't a lot of derbies, but when you're picking out major derby encounters, there's probably 3 or 4 at most within the Premier League calendar that you will look forward to. And this weekend we're going to see 2 of them. You're going to see, of course, the North London derby first up between Arsenal and Tottenham, and you're also going to see the Manchester derby take place between, of course, United and City. But which team exactly would come into this match as favourites? Who do you think would be likely to win? Which team seems likely to struggle? Well, that is what we're going to be going over here today in this particular video. So without further ado, let's actually get to talking about both the major matches, and we'll start, of course, by taking a closer look at both of the teams contesting that particular match. And we're starting, of course, with the North London derby, because that is, of course, the first match of this particular weekend. Now, if you look at Arsenal and the kind of season that they've had so far, it's actually been a very good season, and I'd venture out to say that they've exceeded even the expectations of their own fans at this point, because not only do they currently sit atop the Premier League table with a full 18 points to their name, they have only lost 1 game so far this season, and of course that came to Manchester United, and it was incidentally the last club game that they played. But before that, they'd gone on a very strong run of 6 straight wins to start the season with, hence why they are currently atop the table and leading it by just 1 point. Now, obviously a lot of that comes down to the kind of personnel that they've been accumulating through, of course, the past 2 seasons when Arteta has been in charge. But it is hard to pinpoint, or it is very easy in fact to pinpoint, the influence of one player being a lot higher than most this year, and that is, of course, Gabriel Jesus, the man who signed from Manchester City. Has hit the ground running in this Arsenal team. He's provided goals, he's provided work rate, he's provided link-up play with the other forwards. All in all, he's completed this Arsenal side, because really one of the things that they really lacked was a clinical goal scorer up front, and in Gabriel Jesus they have just that. They're also playing a very good brand of football. That's a lot of youth in that team, so there's plenty of exuberance as well. All in all, I'd say it's a very good time to be a Gunners fan, and I say that begrudgingly because I'm a Chelsea fan. We tend to not like this lot a little too much. Either which way, it's a very good time to be an Arsenal fan. The team is doing very well. But then we get to, of course, Tottenham, who, lest we forget, are back in the Champions League this season. They've been playing the Champions League, and they made a decent start to their league encounter as well. They currently sit, of course, in 3rd place, having accumulated 17 points, and they have started the season in unbeaten fashion. So they've won 5 matches, they've drawn 2, but they're yet to really lose a single one of those matches, and as a result they currently sit pretty in the top 4, in fact in 3rd place as we speak. Now obviously when it comes to Spurs, Spurs were once referred to as the Harry Kane team by Pep Guardiola, and while it's safe to say that's not necessarily true anymore, it's also safe to say that Harry Kane is going to be the person on whom their chances of success hinge on. So if he has a good game, generally speaking, Spurs are going to be having a good game. If he struggles, obviously that's not to say Spurs are a one-man team, but they will struggle just a little bit too. Spurs, in fact, are in many ways, a differing side as far as, if you're comparing them to Arsenal. They have Antonio Conte as their manager, and we know for a fact that Conte, in some ways, is very traditionally Italian with the way he'll set up his teams. He favors a 3-man defense, favors compactness in defense, and he also favors, of course, patient builder play when the team has the ball, and then taking their chances once they're able to make a small opening, or of course, strike on transitions. That's also important when it comes to a Conte side. And so when you're talking about the clash between both these teams, it is in many ways a clash of styles, because again, Arsenal clearly have the Spanish effect, considering they are managed by a Spaniard in, of course, Mikel Arteta. Arteta has them playing a certain way. He's got them pressing high when they don't have the ball. He's got them playing possession. When they do keep the ball, there is a lot of focus on keeping the ball, retaining possession, and creating opportunities. Their defense has also, to their credit, looked a lot more solid this season. That's, of course, down to additions or the return of William Saliba in defense, and of course the fact that their midfield also looks a lot stronger and is shielding the defense better. But Arsenal, of course, as I said, they're that sort of a team who look to be on the front foot at most times. Spurs, on the other hand, are a little more comfortable, not just in possession, but also if it comes down to doing a lot of dirty work or defending. Now, the thing with Spurs this season is, I have to point this out, is that they haven't always looked at their consistent best, but they have in fact won games more often than not. They found ways to win. They found ways to take points even when it didn't seem probable. So for me, I'm very excited to watch this match because I think it's going to be a very close encounter between two sides who very much are like, fire and water. They do cancel each other out. I wouldn't be surprised if it ends in an all-scoring draw, although of course Arsenal will back their chances of winning, considering it is of course in the Emirates Stadium, their home ground. Beyond that, do not again put it past Spurs to cause an upset. If I have to go out there, stick my neck out and make a prediction, I'll say this ends as a 2-2 draw, but it's going to be a very entertaining 2-2 draw with plenty of chances created. Now, of course, on to the next match, the Manchester Derby, and let's first take a look at the kind of start that Manchester United have had to the season. Now, United fans will doubtless be happy with the fact that they managed to turn things around because they had a very poor start. First two matches, they ended up losing both of them, and it looked like much of the same under Erik ten Hag as it did under their former interim manager, Ralf Rangnick. The same problems existed, the same issues were generally there to be seen as they were under previous regimes, and there was a lot of talk about whether or not United had actually done enough to back their manager. Well, that criticism has now gone to naught because again, they made a few signings in the transfer market. The team has generally gelled better under Erik ten Hag in recent times, and so because of that, despite the fact that they lost their first two games, they've now gone on a winning streak of 4 straight games in a row, and that includes big victories against the likes of Liverpool and Arsenal. That's no mean feat, but it is also worth noting that when it comes to United, they do tend to have this tendency of performing well against sides who like hogging the ball. And that might actually play to their advantage when they go up against City, because we know a Pep Guardiola side is always set up to dominate possession. If you're asking, of course, United, again, so far this season, they've looked very, very interesting and dynamic in terms of the way they play, at least in the start of the season. But the one player who, to me at least, looks more reinvigorated than most, Jadon Sancho. He had a torrid time in his first year when he came over from Borussia Dortmund. Now it looks like he's adjusted to the pace of the league a lot better. He's clearly taking to what it is that Erik ten Hag wants from him and expects from him. He's soaking it all in, and he's looking already like the player that United had signed last season, but who we never really got to saw. Will he play a key of decisive factor in this match? Should United actually go on to clinch a point or even 3? I would say yes. But their opposition are not just any team. They're the team who have won 4 of the last 5 Premier Leagues that have been up on offer. They're the team that currently sits second, but who everyone expects are also favourites to win the league this time around as well. That team, of course, is Manchester City. They too, they also have 17 points, and they are currently second on goal difference, because again, Spurs are third with the same number of points, but goal difference is less. And the goal difference that they have, or the additional or the rather superior goal difference that they have, is all thanks to one man. Summer signing Erling Haaland. Now, Haaland, many people, everyone knows that, what it is that he possesses in terms of goal scoring and what it is that he brings to the team. Yet, many people thought that it would take him at least a bit of time to bed into, life in England. Well, he's already gotten 10 goals. So, it didn't really take him that much time to bed into life in England. At this rate, he's on par to actually romp home with the Golden Boot, although I don't expect him to, of course, keep up the scoring rate, but I would never put anything past Haaland. And the simple fact of the matter is City haven't quite always looked their best, but they too have gotten 5 wins and 2 draws, so they've figured out ways to win and not lose. And again, this match between these two sides, for me, again, very, very close to call. Yes, it's at Old Trafford. You would fancy United to have a go, but City went to Old Trafford last season, and they actually managed to get all 3 points very easily. Of course, that was a very different United side. This is a very different United side. Remember, Erik ten Hag, who's currently the United manager, has actually worked under Pep Guardiola when Pep was at Bayern Munich. So obviously, there's a bit of history there. Both these men know each other fairly well. They will be friendly, but they will also want to get their team to win. And in a match of stakes this high, it's obviously understandable why that is the case. Now, this match too, again, I'd be very hard-pressed to make a prediction, but I'm going to stick my neck out there and say that United win it 2-1. I think City will do well, but I do think United have the edge Of course, I will also add that United would do well to ensure City don't get an early goal, because if they get an early goal, then their chances of sitting deep and looking to hit United or City on the break go out the window. So the longer City United prevent City from scoring, the better for them. But enough about how it is I feel about this particular game. What do you guys think? Are you looking forward to these matches, and who do you think is favourite to win both of these matches, or who are the players you think you'd be wanting to watch out for? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like the video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and tap that bell icon so you know when it is we're going live or uploading a new video for you guys. Don't also forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, and last but not least, follow us, or rather download the AajTak app for all the breaking news updates from the world of football and the world of sport in general. Thank you all for joining us. For now, I bid you goodbye, but don't forget to join us through the night and through the rest of the week as well.